Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Let's get the live stream rolling. 5 minutes early here. We will not start the game for another 5 minutes, but as you might have heard, all right. As you might have heard, if you've joined a live stream recently, I've kind of learned that it's best to start the live stream a couple minutes early and let people gather, because it doesn't actually show up in their YouTube subscription until we hit start. I mean, it shows up when I originally posted, but that was 4 or 5 days ago, so it's way down on their list. So if we hit live, then it'll pop up and some people will gather, right? So we're here, we're getting ready. Oh, we lost Gotrek. I don't know where he went. I'm scared, dazed, and confused. He's back again. Shady's back, tell a friend. Alright. While we wait for Elagast, here is the overall faction war as it went. We're at the top four. Dwarves, Empire, Bretonnia, and Ogre Kingdoms. Alright, everybody's gone through Hazardous Road. Gotrek and the Dwarves had to defeat Norska, Kislev, and Beastmen piloted by Razel. Beastmen originally wouldn't have been that bad of an objective. Like, it's fine into Dwarves, but I actually do think Beastmen piloted by Razel is a really large hurdle to overcome, so good job there for Gotrek. Did defeat an S-tier faction in Kislev, and then Norska was a bit of an easier path for him. Nurgle's PA did his best, but it is a very tough matchup for Norska, so that was the Dwarves' path to victory. For Elagast, he had to fight Central Scrutinizer on Tomb Kings. That is one of the matchups that can deal with Bretonnia. I have some builds there, and Scrut had a pretty interesting build, but so did Elagast. And in the match of two very creative builds, Bretonnia did prevail, though it was quite close. Then he fought Black Knights High Elves, and I actually don't remember how that game went. I'm blanking on it for now. But I assume Grail Knights went burr over Dragon Princes. So rest in peace there. And then it was a battle of the top tiers versus Rocket Row on the Lizardmen. A very, very long game versus a Saurus Spear and Temple Guard box with a bunch of healing. And Bretonnia did barely clutch it out with their own healing and cycle charging. It was a slugfest, but Bretonnia came out on top. It was very close. On the other side, Blood Penguin had to defeat Brutus in the Vampire Counts. He did prevail with some war wagons, if I remember correctly. Other than that, it was just Free Company Militia, State Troops, and then I think some Demigryph Knights with Halberds, where he pinned in some Blood Knights and gave them buffs from Franz with Reichel and Runefang. Had to fight Maydave's Lizardmen, and Maydave took Tic-Tac-Toe and a Heaven's Caster. It was a bit of a spicy build. Blood Penguin did prevail there. It didn't feel like it was going to be a close game, and then it just kind of kept going, and I'm like, wait, are the Lizardmen coming back in this? But eventually, the Empire prevailed. And then the green one on Demons of Chaos. It's a tough, tough matchup for the Demons of Chaos. And green one is a Chad for even getting that far on that faction. But it was not a close game. And Blood Penguin steamrolled his way through to the top four. On the other side, Berserk had to fight a 25 to 30 minute long grueling game against the Warriors of Chaos, Chosen Halberd, Severed Claw, Festus the Leech Lord, Heal Blob. He kited it out with one Lead Belcher that got, I think it was 5,000 or 6,000 value on that one Lead Belcher. Not kidding, that was a real thing. But he prevailed. Then he had a game versus the Phoenix King, where the Phoenix King tried his best, but it is a very bad matchup for the Wood Elves, and he got rolled. And then Chosen One fought admirably on Skaven, but once again, it is a very bad matchup for the Skaven, and Chosen One ended up losing. And it's still a game I think he had some teeth left, but army losses decided otherwise. So we'll see. We are missing our Bretonnia player, and we are officially at the time we're supposed to be playing. So now I'm getting a little concerned. I know Blood Penguin's in a best of 3 and Berserk is around, but I told them they would play second, which is why he's warming up in a best of 3. So I'd feel bad telling him to bail on it, because I told him in Berserk that they would go second, so... We'll see if he responds soon. For now, I'll check back in on chat. To bail on it because I've never heard anything because your audio's broken. Oh, thank God. Okay, I just undeafened for a second so I could hear the stream, and my audio's working. You lied. Pandemic Diesel, JC, Scott MC, Art Splash. Art Splash has been popping around recently. Seeing some other new names in there with Pandemic Diesel. I've seen JC in the comment section. I don't see you a ton on live streams. Want to see the Dowie win? Let's go Berserk. Oh, that is true. Another thing to buy time while we wait to see where Elagast is. We do have a prediction for this event. We always have a prediction bracket. And there are 2 people still left in the running. Black Knight is currently ahead by 1 point from FNG. Now, FNG, on the right side, both of them are fucked. Neither of them guessed that Dwarves and Bretonnia would be the matchup. But on the right side, Black Knight predicted that Blood Penguin would beat Berserk. And FNG predicted that Berserk would beat Blood Penguin and then win the finals. So there's 3 options. If Blood Penguin beats Berserk, it's over. Black Knight wins the prediction. If Berserk beats Blood Penguin but loses in the final, FNG and Black tie. And if Berserk wins it all, FNG can win. It's 3 healing factions versus Dwarves. Hard to pick a favorite here, but Ogres and Empire are the definite underdogs. My personal preference, just based on faction, is Empire, then Ogres, then Dwarves, and Brett is last. Just on factions. Right? If you're talking about players, Blood Penguin's been my boy. He's always been a good training partner. He hangs out on our campaign streams. He's been around a ton for us. He's in my admin team, so big ups for him. Gotrek's in my clan. Has some cool dwarven builds sometimes. Sometimes he hero hammers, and it is no secret that I hate hero hammer. But he has some pretty creative ones, like the videos we got up on the channel recently with the Skolder Guard and Flame Cannons versus Chaos Dwarves and things like that. He has some creative ones that I legitimately enjoy. But his Gyrocopter Kite and Hero Hammer, while they're very good and sometimes correct to do in the matchup, I hate watching them. But, you know, he's got some spicy stuff. He's a part of my clan, so I like the lad. I do not know much about Elagast. I really don't. I've heard he's from the Italian scene. But this is my first tournament actually experiencing with him, so I have nothing to really say there just because I've never hung out with this person. And Berserk recently won, if I remember correctly, he won both the Russian Championship for Land Battles and Domination this January. So he's coming in hot. He is my Vermin League playoffs opponent. And those games have been played, but I don't want to spoil the results for anybody. But I've talked to him a good amount and played him a good amount. He's one of the very top tier players right now, playing Ogre Kingdoms. I don't know where Elagast is. Let me message Berserk and Blood Penguin. I know Blood Penguin was in a best of 3, but maybe he's done. Any chance you around to go first? Brett missing. Blood Penguin's still in a best of 3. That's awkward. Well, while we wait, I suppose there's further announcements. So the winner of the prediction game, whether it's Black Knight or FNG, I'll make a for fun tournament, probably not this week, but next week. Well, I have a convention. I don't know. I'll make a for fun tournament, and I'll ask the player who wins it to ban 5 units or spells from every single faction. And then we'll play that so they can kind of ban some of the OP stuff. Like Bretonnia, you could ban Grail Knights, Grail Guardians, Lewin, Hippogriff Knights, Fey Enchantress. Things like that. For the actual Faction War winner, we do get a piece of art done by... Blood Penguin's here. Alright, we're going to go over to Berserk and Blood Penguin first. But to finish that sentence, we do have... the winner of the whole faction war gets some art done by an artist who has helped me out with some of my board games and stuff. Ragnar. He also did all of the faction icons. as Berserk and Blood Penguin have loaded up a game. Stefan Dest had paintings. He did this art for us, right? So they'll get art done by our artist that we have on hand. Phoenix King got Lokir done when he won the faction war on Dark Elves. So we'll get some cool art out of the deal. But I don't think I have to stall much longer. As there is a lobby for us, so let's wait no longer. Yes. One of the players was asking me what map we're on. And Berserk named it Blood for the Blood God, even though he's playing Ogre Kingdoms. That's a little suspect. I have a blocker up. Yes, I do. Checking before I entered the lobby. We're very sorry about that delay in the start. Shit happens. Vermin League finals are going to be cast this month. Yes, I am casting the Skaven Slave finals this upcoming week. I'll do my schedule right after this stream because I didn't want to take away from the YouTube algorithm of this stream by burying it in upcomings. But the Skaven Slave playoffs are done. Clan Rat playoffs are getting pretty close to done. Chieftains are getting pretty close to done. Storm Vermin and Gracie are lagging behind a bit, so I think those casts will be later in the month. But Vermin League playoffs are going on right now. I played my first series versus Berserk already. Are the matches best of 3? For this, it's best of 1 until the finals is best of 3. As we have traditionally done. As we have traditionally done. All right, we're loading into game for first of the day. We're going to left bracket first. It is Berserk on Ogre Kingdoms versus Blood Penguin with his beloved Empire. Ogres versus Empire. And I know I was just talking to Blood Penguin after our campaign stream yesterday. I can't remember if it was on stream or off stream because I just kind of let the mic run for a little bit while we were shooting the shit, and then I talked for a while afterwards. But he was a bit nervous about this matchup. But he was nervous in general because Blood Penguin, everybody has a faction they hate, right? Blood Penguin fucking hates Skaven. He hates them. He hates playing against them. Even in matchups where it's supposed to be favored, he just really struggles. And we all have that. For me, it's Dark Elves. I can't handle Dark Elves. Even matchups where I know factually it's fine, you can beat Dark Elves, or even it's favored, you can beat Dark Elves. I lose anyway, and I just can't handle it. For him, that's Skaven, so he's like, man, I don't want to fight Skaven because I just hate him. But he also didn't want to fight Berserk's Ogres, because Ogres are kind of tough. Berserk is one of the best players right now. So it was like, what do I do? So he's kind of in a lose-lose situation. Now, neither of those matchups is unwinnable for the Empire. It just wasn't, favored. There wasn't one he was rooting for, right? Where it's maybe your choices to fight as Empire is either Ogre Kingdoms or Khorne. And then he'd be like, okay, yeah, maybe I'll take Khorne. Or something like that. Alrighty. GS, can you actually DM me? Can you DM me, please? Alright. We for Berserk's Ogre Kingdoms, we do have 2 Leadbelchers. We have 4 Mournfang Cav, 2 of which have Iron Fists, 2 of which have great weapons. I saw them on their way into the game. We have some Gnoblar Trappers, basic Gnoblars too, and then a couple Ogre Bulls with Iron Fists, and a Slaughtermaster with the Great Maw with... What is that? He took fucking Toothcracker! In a super important game, he took Toothcracker, a spell I only see in new player tournaments, and it never does well. What does he have up his sleeve? On the other side for the Empire, no War Wagons, just pointy sticks. We have 2 Demigryph Knights with Halberds, 2 Empire Knights, we have Halberdiers, Silver Bullets, and a bunch of Spearmen, a Jade Wizard with Earthblood and Regrowth, and Karl Franz in the sky with his anti-large buffs. Gotrek, if you're in the chat, I'm messaging you real quick here, and then I'll focus fully on the game, just doing some admin stuff. Okay. We're trying to find our Bretonnia player, but if not, I just set up a contingency plan so we don't sit around awkwardly. And the game is off. Now, Karl Franz does bring a lot here. Bonus versus large with his Galmaraz buff. Is this live? Yes, yes, yes. We did replays up until this point because scheduling a live event with 32 people across the world is just a giant pain. It's awful. But the finals is live because now I'm only organizing with 4 people and I have to get 4 people in the same place. And one of them didn't show up, but like, we're working on that. But yeah, it's a little easier to organize a live event with 4 people rather than 32. And live is always a little more hype, even though replays are smoother because I can just keep rolling through and there's no lag or anything. It's like, live is nice. Live's nice. It's exciting. And it's exciting for me because I get to cast without knowing the results. With replays, I've never watched the games, but I know who wins. All right, Franz goes for a bit of a charge. Notice how he's holding his buffs until the Demigryph Knights get here. He doesn't need the melee buffs. It's his Demigryph Knights who need the actual help, but Ogre Bull's Iron Fist are starting to charge in. And the Mournfang Cav are opting out. They want nothing to do with this fight. As long as Franz is holding those buffs, Berserk wants to be very careful. He doesn't want to engage until Franz pops him and then he can get a good charge in, but it looks like he is going to go for this. I think as soon as the buffs are popped, he's going to back off. Meanwhile, the frontline fight is in. Gnoblar Trappers and Lead Belchers getting a lot of damage out with Mournfang Cav, Charge Halberdiers, but really the important fight is here, so this is where we're going to focus. There are all the buffs. Stand Your Ground and Reikland Runefang. Now these guys are 58, 61 for melee stats, and the Ogre Kingdoms, but they're fully committed, and they're even getting surrounded by Empire Knights. Look at them get shredded. This is why I suspected that Berserk would want to back off, and it looks like his attention is either elsewhere or he's just said, fuck it, send it, I don't care. But yeah, that is an entire Mournfang Cav with great weapons put into the dirt and absolutely destroyed. Now, back in the Empire area, we do have some Halberdiers fighting desperately against the Ogre Kingdoms. The Ogre Kingdoms are rolling through the Empire's main force. A lot of chaff is dying, and the Lead Belchers are firing away. Really, really good damage coming out from these guys is the Jade Wizard. The Jade Wizard is the only thing over here that really matters. As long as he's alive to heal up the Demigryph Knights and Franz in the late game, then Blood Penguin's okay with sacrificing the rest of this stuff. As long as they go out poking a couple things. Like, this Mournfang Cav is down to about 1/4 HP, so this Halberdier is doing really good. Spearmen are holding for now, but overall, Empire Knights, Halberdiers, Silver Bullets, all of them are routing, and the Ogres want to devote some resources to chasing them down and getting that passive up. But this is a healing versus healing matchup, so it's not like time is exactly in their favor. The Ogre Kingdoms can't just infinitely delay and out-heal their opponents, because Karl Franz and the Demigryph Knights will get a lot of regrowth of Earthblood in that time. I saw him cast something, but didn't exactly see where it went. Gets knocked over by the Slaughtermaster, and Franz and the Demigryphs have killed a Saber-Tusk pack, Ogre Bulls with Iron Fists, a Gnoblar Trapper, and that Mournfang Cav we saw earlier, and they're about to kill another one. So this left-hand fight has been a disaster for the Ogre Kingdoms. The right-hand fight is going more in their favor, but they've killed a ton of chaff, where it's like, oh, okay, cool. That's fine. Franz diving onto the Mournfang Cav with great weapons as Demigryph Knights follow him around. Things are looking bleak for the Ogre Kingdoms here. I don't know how they'll try and come back. The Empire has lost any range they had. Silver Bullets off in the middle of nowhere, do need to be rallied soon, but they're not really going to offer that much more DPS. Earthblood out for the Demigryph Knights and Franz. And Lead Belcher's kiting away with Mournfang Cav to rear charge some Spearmen over here. Can even healing overcome the might of Karl Franz with all these buffs for Demigryph Knights? GS and Gotrek, if you're in the chat, Elogast is here. He was delayed in real life, but he is here at home now. Please start making that lobby, Gotrek. And GS, thank you for volunteering to play Bretonnia if I needed you to, but the actual player is here, and I appreciate your patience with the situation. At this point, the Empire has taken a dominant lead on the balance of power and on the battlefield state. I definitely agree with that. The Mournfang Cav with great weapons, the last real healthy one, is getting Troll Guts to try and keep it up and alive. But there's still 2 very healthy Demigryph Knights. Franz has been untouched. I'm sure he's gotten some passive healing from Earthbloods or whatever, but he's at full HP no matter what. So we are doing good. Mournfang Cav getting poked down. Healing cap is within sight. But the Reichland Mournfang and Stand Your Ground is back up for all these guys. Look at those stats. 59, 62, not even including their melee, their bonus versus large. And the Mournfang Cav terror routing at half HP. Brutal. Oof. Oof baboof. Berserk is fighting it out like a Chad. But I think he's disappointed not to see any war wagons that he could chase down, and instead it was just all melee all day. He has done a really good job of keeping his lead belchers safe for the most part. I mean, an Empire Knight just caught them as I start to say that, but both lead belchers made it to 6 minutes into the game. Full HP, using a lot of their ammo. It's just not enough, as one of the Demigryph Knights takes significant damage. The other one is still quite healthy, and Earthblood's going to try and heal them up a little bit more. Franz is wandering around, ominous in his magnificence. And with all the Mournfangs super low, even the threat of like Franz taking one bad engagement and getting soloed out is really non-existent at this point. The lead belchers are the most dangerous thing that the Ogre Kingdoms have left, and they do next to nothing to Karl Franz. You make vids? Once in a while. Once in a while. Demigryph Knights nearing their heal caps. They take one last charge with these Mournfang Cav with Iron Fists, and the Mournfang are doing a lot of damage on the charge. And they try to get a Troll Guts. Oh, they try to get a Troll Guts, but it's over. GG. Well played by Berserk to get to the top 4. The Empire of Blood Penguin was up to the task. No shame to Berserk, though. Did win the Russian Championship for domination and land battles, so he's certainly an accomplished player. And he's still Berserk. He's still fearsome. Every time I face him, I get chills. Lead Belchers did alright. The Mournfang Cav was a surprising build, and they did okay in some circumstances, but overall did not pay for themselves. Penguin's love of his Demigryph Knights with Halberds did pull through here today, especially versus Ogre Kingdoms, but man, he's been taking these guys all the time. A lot of his builds have at least one now, so he was well practiced for Franz and Demigryphs. GG's, friends. GG's. We do have our second game. I'll get a blocker up before I enter here. And like I said, our Bretonnia player did just get home. He was mildly delayed by real-life things. But he should be here. If not already, then momentarily. With the defeat of Berserk that did decide our prediction game, Black Knight is the prediction champion, no matter what happens at this point. I believe he ends at 22, because he bet, I forget who he bet, but on the right, he bet at the right-hand bracket would win the finals, but he wasn't correct about who was on the right-hand bracket between Gotrek and Elagast. He didn't have either of them here. So that's all the points Black Knight can get, but he did prevail at 22 points. Out of 31 matchups, he guessed 22 correctly, which is very impressive. Because it also has a cascading effect, right? If you get one wrong, like if you think Razel beat Gotrek like I did, then if you have Razel beat the next and Razel beat the next, all those are automatically wrong because Razel's not there. So Black Knight did good. Won the bracket prediction. Means I can get rid of those. Speaking of Black Knight, he also did donate $50 to make a cash prize pool for whoever wins. So the prize I donated, and I usually stick with, is the art, because sometimes cash can lead to some scrupulous behavior. Unscrupulous? Whatever. People can be dicks when there's money involved, so I tend to stick to art, but if someone wants to donate a prize pool, it's fine. It's not really my business. Elagast is here. We appreciate your patience. He is here. He is ready in the lobby. Oh, damn, we lost F and G. Unscrupulous. Gotcha. Gotcha. Scrupulous would be having scruples, which is good. I don't like having scruples. I went to the doctor to have my scruples removed. They bothered me. They itched, you know? It was just uncomfortable. We're talking about the same thing. How's life, hummus? Life is... Life is super busy, bro. It's good, but super busy. How went your heart out? I'm a little confused, but that's alright. By the way, what is it? I'm also still confused. I'm sorry. Alright, we're getting into the game. This is the matchup with the most potential for lag. I suppose actually it might be 2. Because Elagast is over in Italy. I thought Berserk and Blood Penguin might have some lag, but that game actually went off without a hitch. Maybe this one will too. But heads up. Hopefully it's not. But yeah, I have a board game convention, not this week that's about to start, but the week after. I have a bunch of streams with Vermin League playoffs, and I'm trying to get some things together for whenever the hell Shadows of Change 2.0 happens. I'm hoping to stream a lot that week and play a lot more. But yeah, we're busy. And then Strat Game has a cool tournament idea he wants to host, where I'll be casting a lot of the games. You know our Nations event, the five players versus 5 players, and we play all 5 games no matter what, and it's like the score could be 5-0, 4-1, 3-2, that kind of thing. He wants to do that for clans, so we'd have like an ODM team, RTK team, XMT team if they have enough players, because Maydave's back, Icy, its current year is around, so like XMT is kind of waking up a bit, but they have Gojira, so like maybe they can field the team. Whatever. So he wants to do that in March, and then in April, Thrones of Decay will launch, so I'll cover that. And then we want to give Thrones of Decay like 2 or 3 weeks, and then we want to launch our big World Championship tournament. And then I'm also getting ready for a wedding that's in June, and Grace is doing a lot of stuff with that right now, and I have to tag along and make decisions about things. We're moving at some point whenever I can find a job, which I'm interviewing for jobs. I have a job interview on Wednesday, and I have to hear back if I have a second interview on Monday for that. And I have my normal job that I'm currently still working. So, like, you know, there's some shit going on, I guess, is the answer to that one. Shame that Gotrek's SFO tournament was not cast. I think he had to delay it. Except he has 5 players. If Pop Palpatine's around, I don't think DBD has 5 active players right now, so they might poach him. I don't know. I thought you had to do something. I understood hard out. Oh. Maybe I'm just being stupid. Anyway. Builds are ready here. I am already very concerned about Bretonnia. I am not a believer in trebuchets versus dwarves. Gold chevrons and all that stuff, but if the dwarves stay in, like, line formation, it won't do enough damage before they can push up, but I don't know. I know that's a debated topic. Some people really like trebs here, and I just don't, but I'm concerned. But clearly, since it's a debate, there are legitimate reasons for it. We have like 8 peasant bowmen, some with pox arrows, some regular. The Fey Enchantress, she is on her steed, she's not on foot. She brought Regrowth, Earthblood, and then her bound Chalice of Potions, plus her Mortis Engine, Mists of the Lady. Triple Field Trebuchet, we have a Grail Knight, a Hippogriff Knight, and then a front line of Men-at-Arms and Peasant Mobs. Oh yeah, Ronin's an XMT too. I just keep forgetting that. I always think Ronin is a mercenary. For the dwarves, we do have the octagon formation. Miners in the back line, Dwarf Warriors in the front. Rangers and Bugman's Rangers to try and stay stalked on the advance, so the Trebuchets can't shoot them as much, but there are some Quarrelers that can be spotted. We have Ulthar's Raiders with the marked by Ulthar debuff. Less missile resistance, less missile block chance, and less armor. We have Hans Virhelsen for some AP Frostbite with his unbreakableness. Thoric Ironbrow up on his Anvil of Doom with the Rune of Slowness, Rune of Negation, and the Rune of Wrath and Ruin for him. And then we have a basic thing. Just for a nice little 500 gold stat stick. Peak Dwarf gameplay, Hero Hammer plus box. I mean, it's also peak Bretonnia gameplay, to be fair. Grail Knights plus healing. The Dwarves have gotten into range where they now can counterfire against the Peasant Bowmen. And they shred those guys on the volley, but there's 8 of those peasants to get rid of. And the Trebs are still firing away. The Dwarves aren't able to push up and really fire at those Trebs just yet. And here come the Grail Knights. Bugman's Rangers will counterfire, but these guys are heavily armored and bronze shielded. Go straight through the miners. They're already onto the backfield. The Dwarven Hero Hammer coming over to maybe give them a little bit of guff. Bretonnia is going to get out of here. And it looks like we did manage to avoid lag for now. Don't want to curse it, but so far we're doing okay on the lag front. Rangers taking a lot of damage from the incoming volleys of Peasant Bowmen. 40 armor and bronze shields is not enough to stop this many sweaty arrows from hitting you in the face. And the Hippogriff Knights are also here. Interesting to see no Slayers, no Dragonback Slayers or otherwise, but Ulthar's Raiders are going to turn. That's going to be a march by Ulthar, probably paired up with a Rune of Slowness to really try and keep these guys in range for all of them. There it is. They're down to 36 speed as all of those throwing axes and archers follow after them. And just like my curse predicted, there's some lag. Just as I said, it was going fine. Royal Hippogriff Knights do take about a third, going on half their HP bar. Grail Knights rededicate themselves back to the fight to try and disrupt these guys. Bretonnia is pulling ahead on the balance of power, which is concerning because they have healing and the Dwarves don't. So as the game goes on, you'll predict they'll pull further ahead on that balance of power. Peasant Bowman still making the Dwarves pay. And the Hippogriff Knights got away from that charge with 2/3 HP. The Grail Knights are not having a good time at all in here. Oh my goodness. They get a regrowth to try and keep them alive, but they fell down to half HP for a moment, which was a good trade for the Dwarves. They previously have not been able to really achieve. Dwarf Warriors trying to cleave through these peasant mobs so that they can get back on Peasant Bowman and maybe stop some of this incoming fire. Hippogriff Knights recharge in as the Hero Hammer comes over to have words with them. Ulthar's Raiders under attack. But the Hippogriff Knights down to 75 armor, no shields, of course. Makes them a decent target for these Quarrelers and Rangers. Dwarf Warriors fighting against Grail Knights. Enchantress also fighting. Trebuchets, half ammo apiece, pretty much. Simplifying, because some are slightly higher on ammo than others. For the Dwarves, their ranged units have taken quite a beating. We have one Bugman's Ranger that's full HP, another Ranger that's full HP, but everything else is half or lower. Some of it is starting to rally, though I imagine Bretonnia and Cav could go back and take them out if they wanted to. Terror routes for this Dwarf Warrior that finally broke through the Peasant mobs. The Fey Enchantress is dealing with the other Dwarf Warrior that got through. So Aelagast is doing a good job peeling for his archers, keeping the Dwarf Warriors and Miners away from them, as the Dwarves just continue to advance and do what they can. Archers for Bretonnia still have a lot of ammunition left to spend. Is this possible for Dwarves now, like, as a matchup? I don't know. I haven't seen it too much. Fey Enchantress taking a lot of damage from these arrows that are coming in. She uses a regrowth onto the Hippogriff Knights, and it's not overcast, so it'll do some healing, but not like the crazy, super awesome amounts we're used to. The Dwarves have reformed their lines. They're getting some good shots in now onto the Grail Knights, who are pathing away from here, but their shields are facing the other direction, obviously, because they're running away. And we'll see if Thoric's Slow is back up yet. And the Marked by Ulthar. I could see another Master Rune of Slowness plus Marked by Ulthar cast onto the Royal Hippogriff Knights just to slow them down and really pincushion them a lot, especially as all the archers are aiming at them on the charge. And Thoric's coming back. There it is, the Master Rune of Slowness coming in. Ah, it's Marked by Ulthar. Still, you get the gist. Only 60 armor for those Hippogriff Knights. And an awful lot of archers to try and punish them, though the healthiest archer is currently in the fight with them because of the target selection that Elagast used. So we'll see how much damage they can get out. Big damage there as either the lights blinked or my retina's detached briefly, but okay, that's fine. That's fine, we love that. Hippogriff Knights get shredded by the Dwarven Daka. And a Rune of Wrath and Ruin takes out the Men-at-Arms and Peasant Bombs over there. Grail Knights are charging through the Quarrelers and Rangers as we are attempting to punish the Royal Hippogriff Knights, who are now quite low. And the Dwarven Hero Hammer continues to wander around and try and catch these Grail Knights somewhere they can actually get a fight. This is a big moment. The Grail Knights are running out of momentum. Just barely getting through these miners as the Hero Hammer did finally arrive. The Grail Knights, the Hippogriff Knights are both very low. Trebuchets, 8 volleys, 7 volleys, and 8. So still a lot of volleys on those guys. And the Peasant Bowmen still have a decent amount of ammunition. I think the only hope for the Dwarves at this point is to get into a hyper late game situation with Hero Hammer, as another regrowth hits the Hippos. What up, CJ? Is the Ghost Hero unbreakable? Yes. Yes. Faye Enchantress fighting some miners. I have pointed this out several different times, but she's not the Warhammer 2 Faye Enchantress we're used to. This Faye Enchantress is actually quite squishy if she just gets isolated in infantry. She has to be a little careful about that. Hippogriff Knights charging back in as all of the archers aim at them. Marked by Ulthar is not available right now, I don't think, yet, because the Ulthar's Raiders are routing with barely any HP, so I doubt they'll come back. And the Hippogriff Knights fly right over all of those archers. Still the Peasant Bowmen, still the Trebuchets raining in horrible fire upon the Dwarves, taking out Ulthar's Raiders. Once and for all. Dwarves lumbering after the Peasant Bowmen as Hippogriff Knights will go out there and peel. Staying away from these archers while they still can. Bugman's Rangers are regenerating up. It's the counterfire against the Peasant Bowmen with the most ammunition. Oh, except for that one. That one actually has a lot of ammo, not a lot of HP. Looks like the Dwarves noticed that too, and they're going to turn and fire at that specific Peasant Bowman. Thoric, Thane, and Hans still chilling around as the miners are now the target of the Trebuchets. Looks like the Trebuchets are just aiming at the unit that has the most models so that they have a better chance of hitting. Bretonnian melee units wandering up to just rout again. They're going to shatter next time they rout because they've already taken so many routes. Where are the Grail Knights at this point? There they are, way over there chasing something down. Still 26 out of 48 models, 11 out of 12 models for the Royal Hippogriff Knights. Faye Enchantress is back in to fight some miners. Bretonnia Peasants running out of arrows. Trebuchets running out of shots. The Trebuchets aren't really a problem for the Hero Hammer. Dwarves are coming back on the balance of power as the range is getting expended on less and less valuable targets just because, like, these guys are so wounded that the Trebuchets are largely starting to miss them, but they're losing balance of power as they fire. That was a good hit. The Grail Knights and Hippogriff Knights are just mopping up anything that is already routed. And now the archers are trying to pincushion Thoric as possible. Does have 15% missile resistance, 25% physical resistance, so 40% resistance to the shots that are coming in right now. As the Trebs spend their last 1 volley, 2 volleys, 0 for the Trebs. For the Peasant Archers, we have 3 over there, 4 and 4 over here. These two are overlapping. I wonder if Thoric can get in range for a Rune of Wrath and Ruin to really buster those guys down a bit. Dwarves are counter-firing. What up, Bavarat? How you doing? And Bretonnia is starting to get a little concerned. It has some eyes. The Dwarves actually pull ahead on the balance of power for the first time this game. And while it seems ridiculous, if you look at the damage value, the Dwarves have actually kept up in damage value. It's just all the damage they dealt was healed. While Bretonnia's damage value was mostly in things, you know, running around. Rune of Slowness is out as Thoric and the boys get in here. If Hans can get a shot in too, he can also add that Frostbite slow and further slow the Bretonnians down so that maybe they can't run away from here. Big shot in onto the Grail Knights. A giant chunk of damage actually got taken out of them as another regrowth hits, though the Faye Enchantress does take some damage for casting a spell next to Thoric. Regrowth is out for them. They have 38 speed as they try to get away from the Dwarves, who are keeping up with them for now due to that double slow stacking. But once the Frostbite wears off, they should be okay, because it doesn't look like Hans has reapplied it for a while. Yeah, they're going to start pulling away here with 76 speed. They'll be okay. And the Hero Hammer continues on. Bugman's Rangers on the flanks firing back in, and the Grail Knights recommit to the fight, and they will take some big damage here. Heal caps are approaching, plus the Fan Enchantress used a lot of regrowths, and Archers used the last of their ammo. It is now just Bretonnia in the melee, which is exactly what these Dwarven heroes want. They're like, dude, we're tired of running after Archers. We're tired of all this shit. Just come fight us. Those damage values are so low for both sides? Yeah, dude. Yeah. And I will say, I'm not usually a Dwarven defender, but just before the Hero Hammer hate comes out, we have some very well played, but some seriously degenerate healing coming out of Bretonnia, which is why they're an S-tier faction and stuff. So it's like both players are trying their hardest to win. Both players know what they need to win. It's the finals of the faction war. You're going to see some pretty sweaty shit. The last of these peasants are diving in. Now, Thoric does have really good crowd clearing every so often with the Rune of Wrath and Ruin, which we're about to see here on 4 clustered up units. Oh, that was a good cast. To get rid of some of that extra chaff as the Hippogriff Knights recommit with regrowth. That might heal cap the Hippogriff Knights, as the Fan Enchantress on the side also chucks out an Earthblood that hurts her, because once again, casting that close to Thoric is pretty brutal. Now the Hippogriff Knights and Grail Knights are trying to saturate into the areas that Dwarven Hero Hammer continues to chug along. The Grail Knights and Hippogriff Knights, there's just not that much healing left for them. Can they get the work done that they need to? The Hippogriff Knights are back up to half HP, but that is the last that they'll get. They're now stuck at the damage values they can achieve. Grail Knights could still receive a little bit of healing. The Fae could receive a ton of healing, though I really don't know what effect she's going to have on this game at this point. Rune of Doom is out, giving extra melee attack to the Thane. 74 for him, 89 for Hans. And then Thoric himself with 69, nice amount, as the Grail Knights are going to rout. Peasants are overall routing, and Hans does cause terror. Being a spooky, spooky ghost hero, he is going to tear out some of these guys off. Grail Knights fighting to the end. Something is coming in, some sort of buff for somebody somewhere. It's hard to tell what unit it's on. It looks like it's on Hans. It's Master Rune of Negation, giving him 40% ward save with his 75% physical resistance, though I suppose the Fey Enchantress and the Hippogriff Knights and the Grail Knights all do magic damage versus Hans, so he does need that physical. He needs that ward save to help him out. Fey Enchantress actually terror routes off. The Grail Knights are just about dead. Hippogriff Knights are down to 1/4 HP, and I cannot reiterate this enough. They are heal capped in this final all-deciding engagement. We do have some archers. We do have some trebuchet crews in here trying to offer a little bit of support. The Thane is close to routing, and the Hippogriff Knights cause terror. The Thane is ITP, however, for being next to Thoric. I believe he has his Rune of Hearth and Home that gives ITP and... It's Summer. There it is. ITP and Perfect Vigor, even better than Perfect Vigor, as the Grail Knights are going to rout. Balance of Power is still dead even, and damage value is actually very close if you consider that Bretonnia has healed an awful lot of value off the map. Hippogriff Knights getting danger low, and the field of peasants is just completely useless in this sense. Bwag saying, got a cycle charge? Possibly, maybe. The Fey Mortis Engine only works in melee. It is true. There's another Rune of Wrath and Ruin. Big explosion onto all the peasants, causing a mass rout. Big tear outs from all these guys. Regular routes coming in too, but there goes the Thane, and he's so low, I strongly doubt he comes back in this fight. He has 28 HP as the Hippogriff Knights are after him, but they're at 777, the lucky number, but only 2 models, which doesn't feel so lucky to me, Captain. Oh boy. They're routing too. The Grail Knights will come back eventually. Their leadership is insane, but the Thane is dead. All of Bretonnia is dead and routing, and Hans and Thoric stand proud. Get big shots onto the Fey Enchantress, rout her, and that will be army losses as the Dwarves pull ahead on damage value at the last second and do get a clutch win to go to the finals. I was so sure they were fucked. Like, halfway through the game, they were doomed. But yeah, I think a little bit more cycle charging in the end. I think Alogast had to play that a little more cautiously and really abuse cycle charge and feed in one peasant at a time. And when the peasant goes in, Grail Knights go in, and the Grail Knights go out, and the Hippogriff Knights go in, and the Hippogriff Knights go out, and the Grail Knights go in. Like, you know, switch out, switch out, switch out. And then when your peasant routes, send another peasant. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Next peasant goes out, keep doing it. Keep doing it. Things like that. He did blob up too much at the end and just commit to the fight, which was a bit brutal. But the Hero Hammer worked. Thoric with 3,300 value. Hans 840, and then the Thane 630. So really not that amazing of values from those heroes, but they did the work they needed to do Quarrelers and Rangers and Bugman's Rangers, overall good value throughout. It depends on which ones were killed by the Hippogriff Knights and the Grail Knights and the Trebuchets when. And the Miners and the Dwarves, unfortunately, just got massacred, but that is their lot in life. On the other side, Fey Enchantress offered a lot of healing and support. Hippogriff Knights, 1,700 value. Grail Knights, 1,600 value. The Trebs, 1,100, 700, and 950. And then the Archers, all around paying for themselves just from shooting Dwarves all game long. That is a GG. And the finals will be Dwarves versus Empire. GG's, brothers. GG's. While we wait for them to get that final lobby up, it will be Blood Penguin versus Gotrek. I'll get the blocker back up so that I am ready for that. And let's go to this. It's Dwarves Empire in the finals, which might be some people's nightmares. If you have not played much Warhammer 3, you might be like, wow, this is over. Dwarves are super favored in Empire. Not true, actually. Buffs to greatswords, buffs to cavalry, mass, and how charges work. Buffs to greatswords. I think I maybe said that, but Outriders grenade launchers also got some serious buffs in Game 3 with the way explosions work. Buffs to the Hellstorm rocket battery, especially the ROR. Buffs to war wagons and war wagon mortars. Over the course of time, not all in one patch. But the Empire has some tools here they didn't used to have. Plus the Dwarves have taken a couple nerfs from Thoric not having a global melee attack buff anymore to artillery in general not being as good. Did hurt the Dwarves in this matchup. Now, their cannons are some of the best cannons, but cannons in general are not as good as they were in Warhammer 2, which is one of the ways this matchup is Dwarven favored, is just lock in like 3 or 4 Dwarven cannons and a bunch of Dwarf Warriors and walk at the Empire and win. That's not as good anymore. So actually, I've seen the Empire win it more often than Dwarves recently. I would still not call it Empire favored. I just think, like, you know, sometimes the Empire, like, it's Empire mains usually beating not Dwarf mains. I'm sure Gotrek has some schemes up his sleeve. So we'll see. Best of 3 finals between Blood Penguin and Gotrek. Let's get this going. I don't know what lobby to join, so I'll just message Gotrek, because there's 2 Karazar Karaxaritas in front of me. We do have 2 people on the same side of the world. It should not... Actually, all 3. I'm also on the same side of the world as Gotrek and Blood Penguin, so there shouldn't be a problem. Our maps for the finals will be Pillar of Bone, so a small map, Galbaraz, a medium-large map with a bit of terrain, and then Valley of Thieves, a medium-large map, flat. So I did pick 3 different styles of maps for the finals because I didn't know who would be in the finals, and I was like, well, some factions like a small map and some factions like a huge map, so I just kind of picked a variety here. So Pillar of Bone, Galbaraz, and Valley of Thieves. Let's hop in. This will be a best of 3. Players might adjust their builds as the games go on. All right. Both sides setting up. Now there actually is a lot of give and take in this matchup, which is why I'm kind of curious what they'll do with the best of 3. As Chad is saying, there's Vanguard Dwarves, there's Hero Hammer Dwarves, there's Dwarf Spam, which is like Longbeards and Dwarf Warriors, and just have more armor than the Empire can armor pierce, and then have like a bunch of Quarrelers and Thunderers and shit backing you up. There's Artillery Dwarves, which is cannons or flame cannons, especially on a small map like Pillar Bone. Flame cannons will like start the game in range, so they can get some pretty serious damage out. There's even Gyrocopters, which isn't amazing versus Empire, but it's okay. And you can still like surprise them. You know, if they're just not ready for Gyrocopters at all. If they have Outriders grenade launchers, which literally can't shoot at the air, and they have great swords and halberdiers, and then maybe Marcus Wolfhart, then they literally can't deal with your gyrocopters, and you could get a GG off that. On the other side for the Empire, there's great swords, there's outriders, there's mortar wagons that kind of pivot and run. There's the Hellstorm rocket battery. There's Gelt with Final Trans and Plague of Rust to deal with Hero Hammer, or there's apparently Boris Todbringer, though I was going to say usually I see Marcus Wolfhart or Gelt here. I don't see Toddy a lot, which is interesting. But you could do Empire Knight Charge. You could do, Hellblaster volley guns on the War Wagon. The Black Lions can actually be okay, honestly. Huntsman spam behind some great swords. How good is Gelt here? Oh, he's real good. I love Gelt in this matchup. I put him on foot and just give him Final Trans and Plague of Rust, and then I keep him super nice and cheap. And then I can have a super wide Empire army with a bunch of Empire Knights and things to run everybody down. I like him here. My personal gripes, before I say this, Blood Penguin is a much better Empire player than me. So these are just my opinions. I don't think he is, incorrect for taking Boris Todbringer because, I trust he has some reason for taking him. But generally, I don't think Boris or Franz is worth it versus Dwarves because I found they don't really do that much damage to Hero Hammer in my experience, and then the Hero Hammer will beat them up. And aside from that, it's just really expensive, so you're kind of narrow in your build. I don't know. In this matchup, I just don't get much value out of the Fighting Lords. I tend to stick to Gelt. But some people like Wolfhart for the net, and then just poking at Thoric all game with his bow. People like those things. Blood Penguin loves his flying combat lords. When he used to be a Bretonnia main, he used to play a ton of Lewin, and then we've seen him play Franz all the goddamn time, also takes Boris. And then when he plays Kislev, he doesn't get his nice flying lords, he does get sad. Alright, for the builds, I didn't want to talk about things too much because in case the players are listening, there's a delay on stream, but not that long of one. We do have the Dwarves set up in the Vanguard, 4 Bugman's Rangers behind the Empire, so they'll immediately be in range of these mortars. Elsewhere, they have a Vanguard Minor Rush, 5 of which have blasting charges, 3 are regular, 5 Dwarf Warriors, and then we do have the Hero Hammer of Hans, Thoric, and a Thane. On the other side, for the Empire, 5 Swordsmen for a front line, including Sigmar's Sons, triple Greatsword, triple Handgunner, including the Silver Bullets, an extra Spearman in the back, 2 Mortars, 2 Empire Knights, Boris Todbringer with... Ooh, he is butt naked, pretty much. He brought the Midland Runefang for his healing, and then the Blood Roars from his mount, but otherwise he's butt naked. And only a Pendulum on his Shadowscaster. No Melkoths, no Pit of Shades. Surprising. Shouldn't anti-infantry Demigryphs be decent against Dwarves? They are decent against Dwarves. Not amazing, but decent. You have to avoid Slayers. Remind me who's getting the power creep in the next DLC? While that's fair, Parkerilla, I really don't think Empire and Dwarves are the best 2 factions of the game right now. I think these players have just been playing fantastically. But if you watch any high-level tournament, it's a lot of Grand Cathay, Lizardmen, Kislev, Bretonnia. So, yeah. They're strong. They're not the worst factions. It's not like Demons of Chaos and Khorne are your finals, but I'll also say that it's not like, classic Empire. I am kind of shocked we got an Empire Dwarves finals. TBH. So the Mortars are in trouble, but the Empire Knights respond quickly, flying back here with Boris Todbringer, and this is a bit of a problem. Bugman's Rangers aren't exactly cheap. They are 800 gold apiece, and they're right next to the edge of the map. If Boris can dive down onto them with these Empire Knights, his leadership debuff could cause them to start routing, and we could lose 3,200 gold for the Dwarves rather quickly in this game. Their first volleys hurt the Mortars, but did not actually kill any models and did not get them off of their mounts. Miners of Blasting Charges killing some of the Swordsmen. Already the front line of the Empire is going to rout soon, but there goes a nice pendulum onto 2 different units at the same time. And the Handgunners are getting a couple shots off here and there. In the backfield, the Mortars taken out by a second volley from the Bugman's Rangers, so now 1 Mortar is down. The other one's still firing in, and we are about to lose one of our Bugman's Rangers. The other one is also getting close to routing. Rune of Wrath and Ruin onto the Greatswords for a little bit of poke damage on those anti-infantry, armor-piercing Greatswords. Those guys are running forward to just get a fight somewhere while they still can. And the Thoric, the nerf he took to not give a global plus 24 melee attack for these miners with their armor piercing. They have terrible melee stats, but they have armor piercing. When he used to give him plus 24 just globally, this was really rough for the Empire, but it got a lot better now that he has to be somewhere that he's going to win. You can see Blood Penguin's just not going to take the fight near Thoric. He's leaving. He doesn't want this. He's going to go peel for his backline instead, doesn't want to stay up there. Meanwhile, these greatswords that aren't near Thoric are bodying the miners, so they're doing just fine. One Bugman's Ranger almost goes off the map, but it should rally here. There's nothing actually still chasing it, so it should be fine. It'll rally, it'll go back into stalk mode, maybe help its brethren out. But one other Bugman's Ranger is routed. Another one is about to go as Boris offers his leadership debuffs over there. Handgunner's still trying to kite it out and get a little bit more value. A predictive Pendulum misses these blasting charges, and they are trying to get a good throw onto those handgunners as the other handgunners are firing sideways into the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. Their shields not facing forwards as the Shadows caster tries to disrupt them. The minus blasting charges do get a good throw onto the handgunners who are currently turning, so they dodge some of those shots, but not a ton. And the Empire Knights still keeping these Bugman's Rangers at bay. Bugman's Rangers do really solidly in melee combat. 24-38 for stats, and they have a regen. While Boris abandons the Bugman's Ranger flanks, decided that his Empire Knights have got this, and the Spearmen are already disrupting them, and he is needed elsewhere. Dives forward, terror routes off the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, and the last mortar standing is still firing while it can, though its breathing room is getting dangerously short. Greatswords need to turn around and fight these Midas blasting charges because the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass are already terror routing away from Boris. And the Empire Knights abandon the fight to go charge the Spearmen, leaving the Bugman's Rangers to rally once again. Blood Penguin making some hard choices on the backfield. Blood Penguin is up about 2-1 on damage value for now. Though losing a whole mortar does change that a little bit. And his handguns not being able to sit and shoot is also problematic. They're getting pushed closer and closer to the white line, so they're running out of places to run too. And the Empire Knights that were fighting these Bugman's Rangers now take a different fight with the other Bugman's Rangers. Don't get a ton of damage out. They are getting shot in the back for all of this time that they spend. The Empire Knights are an important piece, but they're not armor piercing, so it's not like they can really sit and grind too much. Bugman's Ranger's going to shoot at the Silver Bullets. The Silver Bullets getting the little damage they can down onto Thoric. His physical resistance is negated by their magic damage, and his spell resistance does not factor in yet, but a Rune of Wrath and Ruin will take out some of those handgunners, and the Bugman's Rangers are still shooting at them from the trees as Boris takes a bit of a fight, just wants to get some poke out onto Thoric for now, because he can take a little bit of damage and back off to regen. Thoric does not have any regen. Empire Knights losing the fight against the two Bugman's Rangers pretty badly is soon going to be pushed off the battlefield. Boris and the Silver Bullets take Thoric down to about half HP. The mortars are routed away from the dwarves. Dwarves falling a little bit behind the bounce power as the Grey Wizard is running away from the Thane as best he can. Thane is 3 speed slower, but does have charge bonus right now as he runs after that Grey Wizard. Handgunners continue to kite it out. Thoric is just taking so much damage, man. Regular handgunner also poking him down right now as the Silver Bullets run away from Hans Verhilsen. And the Bugman's Rangers not able to support too much just yet. They did fight back against those Empire Knights. They did fight back against the Spearmen, but that's all they've been doing all game. Not that it's really their fault, but good job from Blood Penguin just to throw some sacrificial shit at them and really delay their effectiveness on this battlefield until the late game. Now they are free and clear, but a second Empire Knight is running straight at them to once again delay those archers from shooting at the Silver Bullets, from shooting at the handgunners. But the handgunners and the Silver Bullets are running out of time to shoot, man. These guys are firing up and over the little green-skinned statue. Dwarf Warriors are still running after them. Other Dwarf Warriors are running after these handgunners that Thoric plows straight into. Slow them down, maybe rout them off. Boris gets tired of fighting Bugman's Rangers, decides to abandon them without even routing them. Warriors of Dragonfire Pass rally at literally the last second, and the Grey Wizard gets caught. Blood Penguin's micro is solid across this giant battlefield, but he did slip up a couple times, and the Grey Wizard gets caught enough to get chased down by the Thane, so there's no more magic for the Empire. Boris and Hans still fighting, terror out coming out from the handgunners. But this is a good situation. Very healthy Dwarf Warrior getting honestly close to terror routing, and then they could naturally route him right off the map, and that's a super healthy unit to lose this late in the game. Empire is up, still about 3,000 damage value, which is intense, but the Bugman's Rangers are very sticky. With their regen and naturally high Dwarven leadership, they're still poking down the Silver Bullets. Without the Silver Bullets, this could get a little spooky to kill Hans, because that magic bullet volley. I had a stroke. I had a mild stroke. It's fine. It's fine. Call an ambulance. Anyway, the magic damage bullets would have been really good versus Hans, but we'll see. Another Rune of Wrath and Ruin whittling down some of the Empire. There go the Silver Bullets. And once again, Boris charges these Bugman's Rangers to get rid of them. The Shadows Wizard is still getting chased off by the Thane. The balance of power creeps back a little bit towards the dwarves. It's still in the favor of the Empire, and I still think the game state is in the favor of the Empire, but I definitely agree. It's getting a little risky for them. Franz does magic damage while Toddy doesn't. Franz does do magic damage and Toddy does not. Tequila Sunset is correct as always. It's fucking always. Rear charge onto these Bugman's Rangers. Take a bit of damage. And then they'll fight back as the other Bugman's Rangers that those Empire Knights left behind are still over there, still vibing. These Empire Knights, man, they were 2/3 HP when they started fighting that Bugman's Ranger. Now they're 1/3. Those guys are still regenerating. Bugman's Rangers, I know Gotrek really likes them, and he constantly advocates for those guys. These handgunners are routed off by Hans and Thoric. The silver bullets are officially gone. We do have a mortar back online and firing at the miners. Dwarves running out of random trash units to throw into the fire, and soon we'll get down to just their hero hammer. As Boris routes off these Bugman Rangers and routes off the miners, and these Dwarf Warriors are routing, so that's 3 infantry units the Dwarves desperately need in this late game, all getting pushed off around the same time. Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, fighting their best against the Greatswords, but Thoric's extremely low HP does have me concerned. As we still have 52 out of 90 handgunners on this side that could do some serious work. I honestly wouldn't hate for them to turn and just shoot at the minus blasting charges here. They have so much ammunition, they're never going to run out in this game, but we do need to finish cleaning up some of these miners. Boris is going to fly over, help out his Empire Knights killing off these Dwarf Warriors. I think he's going to go all the way over and deal with those Bugman's Rangers. Is maybe going to be his play. Does he know that there's these stalking Bugman's Rangers right here? They're not healing right now because all of the models they have are already heal capped. Like, they'll take a little bit of damage and then start healing again, but we'll see if that even matters. Great Swords fight against the Thane, get a little bit of poke damage here and there where we can. Hans has the old 75% resist. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Mortars firing at Bugman's Rangers. We'll see if they friendly fire some of their own great swords, but this is the last real target for them to be shooting at on the battlefield as they hit mostly great swords. As they hit mostly great swords. Jesus, mortars, figure it out. Anyway, Swordsman gonna go try and fight miners. Handgunners are returning to shoot at the hero hammer, and Thoric casts something on his Thane. He gave his Thane 40% resistance. Mortars continue to fire at the Bugman's Rangers. Still probably going to hit mostly their own greatswords just because of the way the world works. Way out front. Way to the left. And you hit the great swords! Let's fucking go! God, I hate mortars. Alright, here it comes. Boris is fighting Hans. Hans is 75% resistance, but a tiny HP pool. That is one thing you have to remember. He has 2,700 HP. Boris has 5,000. Thoric has like 8,000 when he cares to. And Boris does have healing, so he really wants to take a fight right now and just take some damage so he can back off and heal. All the handgunners continue to poke away at Hans, do a little bit of damage there. He is getting a little bit of damage out. I think they need to snipe Thoric first so that they can get army losses, get rid of everybody on the battlefield, and then deal with Hans. Because Hans is unbreakable. He's going to be here at the end game no matter what. Mortars still shooting at Bugman's Rangers. They need to stop. The Bugman's Rangers are already routing, and Empire Knights are chasing them. This is only going to do friendly fire damage. They need to not fire. The Mortar Crews honestly just need to get off their mounts and stop playing the game. They don't matter anymore. They're just going to hurt their own team. Maybe they can shoot at those miners for the last couple volleys they have, maybe. As handgunners go to shoot Thoric, and Boris also goes to snipe Thoric. I like this a lot. The Empire is pulling very far ahead on the balance of power. Rune of Wrath and Ruin is out from Thoric onto these great swords. But this game is not over. If the Hero Hammer can take out Boris, then the Empire does lack the leadership and the DPS to kill the rest of them. They really need Boris to stay alive, and he is going to back off for now, as the handgunners buy a little bit of time retreating away from Hans while Empire Knights cover their escape. Great swords were chasing down the Bugman's Rangers, now have decided fuck it and leave them be. Handgunners turn around, and they try to get a shot onto Thoric, but they're obstructed by Boris, and they are going to get hit by Hans. Boris is currently using that charge bonus to good effect. He's surrounded by his own great swords. Thoric is taking big damage. 1,500 HP for him as Boris backs off. The Mortar Crew has left their mounts behind. The handgunners actually run past Hans to get to safety. Bugman's Rangers do rally in the distance, but once again, I think as soon as Thoric goes down, army losses will hit, and then the dwarves will be down to just Hans, and the handgunners will have to do most of the work on kiting him out. Thoric took 300 more damage since we last saw him. Sigmar's Sons also coming downhill. Didn't Sigmar's Sons used to have Frenzy, or am I crazy? Another handgunner volley gets a little bit of poke onto Thoric. He's down to sub 1,000 HP. And the Empire Knights tear out away from Hans. And that is another Rune of Negation. 40% more damage resistance for Thoric. Handgunners shoot at him anyway, just determined to get what poke they can before they have to retreat away from Hans, leaving swordsmen in their wake, but a terror route will force them away from here, no matter what they want to do. Looks like Boris is lining up for another charge as the Master Rune of Negation wears off in 6 seconds. He is still going to go for it, still going to get a shot, and if he can rout Thoric, then it's Freelo, because he can, obviously fight him without any fear of repercussions. Thoric's hovering at 0 leadership, but refusing to rout. And he gets some big shots onto Boris. Boris's heal cap's probably approaching, but here come the handgunners. They are free and clear to get 2 or 3 volleys into Thoric, and that range damage is really what the Empire needs just for that guaranteed value, so they don't have to deal with it anymore. Here comes the army losses, and now everybody can focus up on Hans. Doesn't matter at all what they do besides hit Hans. Looks like the Empire infantry is starting to back off. 2,000 HP with 75% physical resistance. See how long he can last. 1,800 left on him after that handgunner volley. Those dwarf mortars coming in clutch in the late game? Hell yeah, dude. Hey, Sun Tzu League, how you doing? How you doing? And Gotrek does not make us sit through it as he realizes the jig is up, and the Empire will go up 1 game. Isn't it better to kill the other heroes first? No, because Thoric offers support to Hans and them. Like, he gives Hans that extra 40% ward save that makes him even harder to kill. And Thoric's leadership was all that was keeping the Thane in the fight. So if you kill Thoric, you kill the Thane and make Hans easier to kill. Whereas if you kill the Thane, Thoric is still Thoric. Nothing changed there. And if you kill Hans, then you still have to go kill Thoric and the Thane. So it's just kind of the order of operations is killing Thoric makes killing the other ones easier. Yeah. All right, while these guys make alterations to their Game 2 builds, let's go through the values. Hero Hammer at about 1,000 apiece for each character. Bugman's Ranger flank was creative, but it was very quickly... I don't want to say shut down, because they actually did fight for a very long time, and they were just this constant nuisance in the backfield. But they didn't get what Gotrek wanted out of them done, where they, maybe one-shot those mortars and then become the nuisance. They were just the nuisance, so they got 1 out of the 2 mortars. It was it was a partial success, but it wasn't what he fully wanted out of them. Miners with blasting charges and Dwarf Warriors did fine. On the other side, Boris Todbringer was a constant support on the battlefield, did provide some of those leadership debuffs that he needed. Empire Knights both paid for themselves with a bit of gusto, were important battlefield control pieces. Swordsmen got shredded, as they usually do in this matchup, but great swords, like I said, with those big buffs that they got, now all of a sudden performing quite well. And Handgunner Kite, overall doing well, those guys paying for themselves with a little bit of extra. And the mortars, surprisingly getting the same value, even though one was up all game and one was barely there. But GG. Oh, no Jews? Yeah, okay, then I agree with you for sure. For sure. When you said heroes, I thought you meant literal heroes. Alright, second map is Galbaraz, a bigger map this time. Not nearly as small, so that will actually change what both players want to do, probably. Since the full vanguard of the miners will, if it happens again, it's like, you gotta cover more ground before the Hero Hammer gets the enemy, and your Bugman's Rangers won't be right behind the mortars like they were last time. So, could see a different strategy here. And for Blood Penguin, I don't know. I don't know what he does. Maybe more cav, maybe more artillery on a much more open map rather than his infantry rush. We'll see. If any of my rule admins is around, we'll have to do it. Streaming faction war 18. If any of my rule break admins is in the chat right now, can one of you guys deal with the Segos versus Sipa rule break question? Because I am clearly indisposed at the moment. This is why we do a best of 3, baby. Completely Different strategies. There we go. As soon as the game actually started. Completely different strategies from both forces. Hero Hammer is gone. Dwarves added in some cannons. Got 2 gyro bombers and a gyrocopter. So it's a bit of air kite and a bit of artillery. No Hero Hammer this time. On the other side for Blood Penguin, Boris Todbringer is gone, replaced by Marcus Wolfhard. I told you people take him in this matchup. You didn't believe me. Got Marcus Wolfhard, got the Hellstorm rocket battery, a bit more cavalry. So different sized map, different strategy. You love to see it. I will say I would get paranoid. And, well, not paranoid. I would get annoyed and sad if a matchup was so decided that it was no matter what map you were on, everyone took the same build. So I'm glad in our finals that the players did actually get forced to switch up. Gyros to carry. Oh, they're going to try. Oh, they're going to try. To go over the full builds. Sorry, I'm getting a bunch of messages right now about stuff. All right. Anyway, to go over the builds, we have 4 crossbowmen from the Empire. The Sunmaker, Silver Bullets, 4 Empire Knights? No, 3 Empire Knights and an Outrider with grenade launchers. More state troops than last time, but no great swords whatsoever. So the Empire is going to be quite deficient in melee compared to what they were last time. Marcus Wolfhard on the front, I imagine with just his net. Yep, just his net, and then a Shadows Caster with only Pendulum still. On the other side for the Dwarves, we have 4 Miners in a little bit of a staggered mustache. It looks like a Waluigi mustache formation. 4 Miners with blasting charges. Double Empire... double Empire cannons. The Dwarves bought cannons from the Empire for some god-awful reason. Anyway, sorry. 2 Rangers, 2 Dwarven cannons. Backline of Dwarf Warriors. We have 2 Gyro Bombers, a Gyrocopter with Brimstone guns, and then Thoric on his Anvil of Doom with Rune of Wrath and Ruin and Rune of Negation. We'll see here. Now, one of the big moments in this game is going to be if the cannons can shoot up and over the ridge to shut down the Sunmaker, or if they even bother with it. Maybe what they do is send the Gyro Bombers and Gyrocopters up to just snipe those guys out on their own and do their best to dodge. But Marcus Wolfhard's net is a good counter to Gyrocopters if they get too close to him while the Silver Bullets are up. Crossbowmen, Sunmaker, even Marcus himself, none of the Dwarven Air Force cares. The Dwarven Air Force literally only cares about the Silver Bullets. Why would the Dwarves want Empire cannons? That was the joke. I misspoke. Miners taking a lot of damage here, and the Dwarven cannons are firing up, and it looks like they can hit the Sunmakers. The Sunmakers' days are numbered. Dwarven cannons are actually pretty good on their accuracy. And the Sunmaker is going to spend some of its time killing off these Miners, as it's really the best crowd clearing that the Empire has. Outside of this Outrider grenade launcher, it's going to have to kill most of these Dwarf Warriors. Because like I said, without the Great Swords, we saw how well the Spearmen and Swordsmen did last game. They did what they had to. You know, they're an important function in the Empire's roster, but they just can't stand up to Dwarves. Crossbowmen counter-firing into these Miners, and already the Sunmaker is down to half HP. And still Dwarven cannonballs are flying in. It's burning all of its ammo as fast as it can, for what it's worth. Gyro Bomber is up in the sky above the enemy formation. Crossbowmen will shoot at it as it's trying to snipe out the Grey Wizard, but Marcus Wolfhard is not nearby to net them down. He's in the backfield trying to defend his ranged units as the Silver Bullets fire at the Gyrocopter's Brimstone guns. Good stuff there. The other Gyro Bomber is kiting away. 2 models left for the Sunmaker. It's already at half DPS, and it does rout. The Dwarven cannons can and will win most artillery fights with the Empire. Now, both sides have sacrificed a lot of their frontline capacity since last game, compared to last game, right? So both sides' front lines are a bit weaker. The Dwarves need to pull up these Dwarf Warriors that are in the backfield and throw them into the front line a bit, but he is worried about these Empire Knights that doesn't want to just full YOLO it. And the cannons have now moved on to the Empire Knights. Now that the Sunmaker is not too much of a threat, if it gets back online, maybe they'll refocus onto it. But for now, they realize that the cannons are the next biggest target. And here come those Rangers, the tactical reserve Rangers moving up now to offer a little bit of support. The Empire Knights are doing their best. One of them is being used to peel minus blasting charges off the backside for these Outriders grenade launchers, but the other Empire Knights are sprinting towards the cannon for a suicide charge to take them down. We'll see how long the Dwarves can hold while the Rangers and Dwarf Warriors and Thoric try and peel for them. Gyro Bomber is still doing some sniping in the front line. Looks like it's also shooting at Empire Knights. And the Gyrocopter's Brimstone guns on the backfield got obliterated by something. While Gotrek's focus was elsewhere, it looks like the Silver Bullets got off a clean volley onto those guys and did do a lot of work. So both the Gyro Bombers are still healthy. Gyrocopter is quite injured and trying to return to the fight. Alright, cannons firing over at the Outriders with grenade launchers. Empire Knights at 3/4 HP over there. This one's at about 1/3, and that one's at about 2/3. So overall, the Empire Knights are still pretty healthy. But the Dwarves, still putting up a lot of pressure on that front line. Many of the Empire State troops have suffered quite a lot of damage. We still do have both cannons online, so the Empire suicide dive was not successful. And both of the Gyro Bombers are still very, very healthy. Brimstone gun, Gyrocopters in the back, just shooting away at Crossmen for now. Looks like they've accepted their fate as quite injured in this game. They'll do what they can, but don't expect to live. Silver Bullet's still very healthy, firing away. As we have established, they are quite good against Thoric if they can get the opportunity. Empire Knights once again diving the Dwarven cannons, and both Rangers reforming lines to go over and shoot at these guys. But Thoric gives these Dwarf Warriors 46 melee attack with his Rune of Doom. Strong boy. Gyro Bomber still kiting around. Cannons firing down the line at crossbowmen. Usually cannons aren't that good at hitting infantry, but if your infantry is facing away from them, the cannonball can bounce up the line and do a little bit more damage. So I like that, seeing his opportunity and taking it. Dwarven cannons rally, get back on their mounts, it looks like. There they go. Still 4 out of 4 for them. Still firing away at the Empire Knights. One of them is super depleted. And the Gyrocopter's Brimstone guns actually go into melee to force the Sunmaker off of its mount that they did get back on. And also the Outriders grenade launchers got punished by the cannons. Damage values at about 3,000 apiece. But the crossbowmen are getting in range of the cannons, and that's really where the jig is up. It's super hard to get your cannons back online after the crossbows start shooting at them. Empire Knights running out of gas. One half health one is pretty much all they have left. They have a quarter health over there, and this one is just about dead. Rune of Negation tries to protect a little bit against the oncoming fire from the crossmen who have closed in. The Gyrocopters, their Brimstone guns do right off the Sunmaker once again. Where are the Gyro Bombers, and what can they do? Oh, God, he's used most of his ammo. He's only gotten 300 value. Oh, no. Oh, no, oh, no, oh, no. And this Gyrocopter has 96 value. The Gyro Bombers are doing nothing! Nothing! What the hell? Okay. Okay, Gyro Bomber. We see you out there being garbage. Empire Knights, that is the one that was previously healthy. It is diving the cannons once again to shut them down. Crossmen overlapping fire onto the Gyro Bomber, but it should rout anyway. With 600 HP, it's just too low. It'll rout off. The other Gyro Bombers also routing. The Dwarves are falling behind yet again. For the Dwarves, we still have 2 healthy-ish Rangers. 2 very healthy Dwarf Warriors. Thoric is also just chilling. And that is about it. For the Empire, as you just saw, the Silver Bullets are still a menace. And then we have 4 quite active and healthy crossbowmen. Very healthy Marcus Wolfheart. Healthy swordsman, healthy Grey Wizard. Just GG. Well, not GG, sorry. I looked at my left screen and just kind of went on autopilot for a second. Thoric pops a Rune of Doom as he runs over. Nothing was in range to receive the Rune of Doom, however. And Marcus Wolfheart is poking away at Thoric, taking that HP down a bit. Marcus, I don't believe he has armor-piercing shots, but he does have a significant bonus versus large on his. Oh, he has both. AP and 120 bonus versus large, which Thoric is. Cannon's trying to return to the fight and get onto their mounts. Gyro Bomber has returned to the fight and is staying out of range of Marcus and everything else, instead just shooting at Empire Knights for now, while Rangers trade back onto Crossmen and the Silver Bullets. Rangers should win those fights. They are shielded, whereas neither Crossmen or the Silver Bullets are. Grey Wizards trying to rejoin the fight, but there go the Empire Knights routing off. Other Empire Knights going for a rear charge, but I wonder how long they'll last. And Dwarf Warriors are a menace in this matchup. I've mentioned it multiple times, but the things that made this matchup playable for the Empire was grenades buffs, which that thing's almost dead. Grenade buffs, great sword buffs, the Sunmaker. There's no great swords in this game. The Sunmaker's gone. The Outriders grenade launchers are almost dead. So like these two Dwarf Warriors are actually a fucking problem. But the Empire can do what it always does and try and kite them out with the Crossmen and the Silver Bullets. We'll see how much the Rangers can dissuade that. If the Rangers can get a significant amount of DPS out, then the Dwarf Warriors can carry this game. Not looking so well for the poor Dowie. It's true, as Marcus Wolfheart continues to try and plink down Thoric. Plinking away. Big pendulum shuts down the last of the Rangers. And Gyro Bombers are back. Thoric's getting danger low. The cannons of the Dwarves are back online for a moment, firing away into the Silver Bullets just to do something, anything. Change how this game is going. The Gyro Bomber is shot down by the Silver Bullets with 2,100 damage value for them. Oof, ba, boof. At this point, it is looking a bit like GG as the Silver Bullets and Marcus Wolfheart continue to ping down Thoric. 2,000 HP left for him. The Empire has plenty of DPS left to give. Outriders grenade launchers trying to get a couple shots on these Dwarf Warriors. Big Rune of Wrath and Ruin takes out the Silver Bullets almost entirely, but it is too little. It is too late for Thoric, I'm afraid. Looks like the Empire will be our Faction War 2024 winter winner, unless something crazy happens. But I doubt it. Dwarf Warrior is going to chase down the Silver Bullets as Crosswomen and grenades and other Crossmen still try and shoot Thoric. They know if they can kill him, they will win the whole tournament. Marcus Wolfheart has 4 shots left, and he's using them all on Thoric. Pretty sure Quarrelers have always been the problem for Empire. Yeah, I think he wanted Rangers so that they couldn't be targeted by the Sunmaker because of stock. A predictive pendulum. Try and damage these Dwarf Warriors a little bit. Silver Bullets might just be doomed. As Marcus Wolfheart snipes Thoric for the final shot of Faction War 2024. Very well played to both players. Gotrek getting further than I believe the Dwarves ever have. Getting to be in the finals in the second place. In 2 very close games between the Empire and the Dwarves, but the Empire did clutch out both. In the first game with Boris cycle charging and then infantry support. And in the second game, Marcus Wolfheart and the Silver Bullets just kiting Thoric out. So, 2 very different ways to win the game, 2 very different builds by both players. And the Gyro Bombers did shockingly less damage than I would have thought. Like, a lot less damage than I would have thought. I felt like Gotrek played well with them and got them in good situations, and they just sat around and did jack diddly fuck. Like, they even were shooting at Empire Knights and doing nothing. The Brimstone guns, which got massacred at like the start of the game, still did more value than both the Gyro Bombers. That is just depressing. The Empire Cannons did pretty well. Rangers did pretty well. Dwarf Warriors did what they had to for the front line. Miners, Blast, Charges, and Basic Binders also did fine. But the Gyro Bombers really did not come through. On the other side, Marcus Wolfheart, great value. The Shadows caster, I also am agreeing with chat. I'm not sure about the Pendulum casts here. It doesn't feel like it's been that effective, but Blood Penguin took it 2 games in a row, so he must really like it for some reason. Empire Knights are good disruption. Outriders grenade launchers were shut down expertly by the Dwarves. They really didn't get to play. Same with the Sunmaker. The Dwarves shut both of those down so darn fast. The state troops bought the crossbows and the Silver Bullets all the time they needed, but they did get massacred by the Dwarves. And here's the real value in the Silver Bullets, in the Crossmen, really trying to carry the game. Did the Bombers drop their bombs? No, but they couldn't get that close, right? Because Marcus was standing there with a net for most of it. The Silver Bullets were there to push them off. So it's not like the Gyro Bombers could just fly around and use their bombs whenever they wanted to. Yeah. GG's, brother. GG's. Alright, we gotta go to the bracket and actually, like, do the thing. Gotta go to the bracket. Boom. Blood Penguin and the Empire. Boop. Oh, no. They're still attached. They're still attached. Dear God, they're still attached. Alright. Blood Penguin and the Empire win it all for Faction War 2024 of Winter. Joining the likes of Alfredito on Tzeentch, who won the last one, and then I believe the Phoenix King on the Dark Elves won the one before that. I'll hit up Blood Penguin, get him his prize, get the art started there. The Ragnar's already busy with the winner of the Skaven Slave finals. But he'll figure it out. He'll do okay. Ragnar's a tough kitty. Congratulations to everybody who played. Special shout-outs to the Green One for getting much further on Demons of Chaos than I ever thought possible. Same to Chosen One, getting further on the Skaven than I could have imagined. Berserk on the Ogre Kingdoms, once again, a faction I've been shitting on verbally, but he made it work for quite a while. Well played to Black Knight, beating Hanadins in a matchup that most of the predictions thought he was going to lose. And Butcherbird winning versus Tzeentch, which is another matchup that a lot of people thought was doomed, but he clutched it out. So it's GG's. GG's all around, lads. GG's all around. That's going to be it for me. If you are a new player and care about the new player tournaments, after the stream is over, I will go about scheduling that and giving you a ping and a post and all those things. I believe it's NA night time this week. This week I'll also be streaming the Skaven Slave finals. Let's take a look at the old calendar. See what else is coming up. Hup! Yeah. Yeah, that's all I got so far. If one of the other playoffs finishes up, I'll stream that too. If they don't finish up this week, then I'll do a third stream of me just practicing or playing Vermin League or something. So there will be 3 streams this week. I'll go schedule those right after the stream here. Yeah. We have another campaign stream coming up. 2v2. Probably Blood Penguin and Rinless versus me and Goji. I'm still deciding when to do that. Whether to do it at the end of February, because I try to do one a month. And the February one was super short because we were just wrapping up the Durthu thing. I was 2 turns from victory, and the Undead couldn't get in range if they wanted to. So it was all on Balthasar Gelt to try and stop me, but we finished that up. So I don't know if that counts as February's or if we wait all the way till March. But we could wait till Shadows of Change 2.0 and do a co-op campaign with some of the new stuff. I don't know, man. I don't know, and I don't know how to end the stream because I never do. Especially when they're short, because I still have energy to like keep shouting and keep screaming at things, but it doesn't matter because it's over. Everything's over and my life sucks! No, it doesn't. Thank you for participating. Thank you for watching. If any of the 160 people that were watching the finals feel like subscribing and you don't usually subscribe, come on, man. Just come on, bro. Nurgle Marathon when? Never. Though I have thought about doing a stream of a best of 23 versus chat. So it's just I have a lobby open and like people can join and fight me, but like chat can't play any of the same factions that someone else did, and I can't play any of the same factions I did. And we just see how it goes. Like, chat used Nurgle and I used like Skaven. All right, neither of us can use those. So, yeah. The likes are shockingly low. Yeah, we only have 10 likes for having 160 people watching at one point. That's kind of fucked up, you guys. Hey, we have 58 now. Let's go. Art Splash, I did send it in the mail. Your mailing address was in fact 1234 Silver Road Lane. So I didn't think it was real, but I did throw a rat into an envelope and send it in the mail. I did do that. It's real. Oh, I know how to end the stream. Hold on. There's 117 people left. No, there's 108 people. No, they're all leaving. Hold on. There's an appropriate way to end the faction war. Hazel! Hazel! Come here! Come here, puppy! Who's the puppy? Who's the puppy? You get over here. You get over here! This is how you end the faction war. With dog. With dog. Hi, Doggo. Hi, Doggo Doggo. Hi, Doggo Doggo. Who's so good? It's Hazel. It's Hazel. It's Hazel. We love Hazel. And she's glowing in the sunlight. Look at her. Look at her. How can you be mad at Miss Basil? Mrs. Hazel Basil. Oh, she's flopping. She's flopping. She loves being flopped. You're such a good pup. You know that? Alright, I gotta let you... Oh, she's still just ragdolling. I can't let her down until she reactivates her spine. Come on, bud. Hey. Hey. You gotta reactivate your spine. Okay. Whoop. There you go. Alright, now I'll end it. Goodbye.